Welcome into another edition of Talk About Watches Live. My name is Tim, and tonight we're going to do something quite a bit different. We're going to welcome a member of our audience. Gene Martinez recently won the Alexander Olyn 7750, and we're going to spend some time talking with him. And this is going to be very organic. I don't have any plan. There's no prescribed or pre-approved set of questions or anything like that. So we're just going to see what Gene and I end up talking about. I assume watches, maybe some other stuff. We're about to find out. Very quickly, I do want to mention a couple of things. One, if you haven't yet joined our email list, please do so. And we promise we're not going to spam you, no more than one email a day, but you'll have access to our deals of the day. You also have access by being on that list to the closed group on Facebook. And that group actually gets advance notice of every single deal, every single flash deal, deal of the day, specials for the shows that we do, and so on. Speaking of shows, tomorrow, of course, July 4th, so a very happy July 4th, and a very special thank you to all the veterans that are out there. And we have, of course, planned our July 4th show, as you've probably seen if you've noticed our post on social media and video. And those on the email list will have first shot at that. Keep in mind that tomorrow's show is starting at 4 p.m. East, and that's quite a bit different than we usually do. And we went, well, what do you do on July 4th? Do you put it on in the morning? Well, no, it's a holiday. People sleep in. And then you go, well, put it on in the afternoon. Well, everyone's cooking out. Well, then let's put it on at night. Well, they all went to fireworks, so there was no real solution. So we just put it on at 4 p.m. East, and then it's going to, from there, we'll get into replay. So it'll be very simple for you guys. Try to catch us live at 4 p.m. East because that'll be first run. And there's quite a lineup, as you've probably noticed. If all goes well, we'll have Avi Vieira with the new XO collection. And we're also going to be doing specials with CT Scuderia and Santos and Skywatch and some other very cool stuff I can't think of right now. But that's tomorrow, July 4th. Right now, a quick reminder to join the email list because that's the way to get the heads up on what we're continuing to do here as we expand at talkaboutwatches.com. Also a reminder, join us via social media. In addition to obviously Facebook Live, there is, of course, YouTube Live. Some of you are watching us right now on YouTube Live. But there's also options for Twitter, of course, Instagram, and Google+. We support them all, so please join us out there on your favorite social media. And that's all about the time I have for that, really, because I really want to get to this interview. So let's start with the official grand opening, and then we're going to welcome Gene Martinez to the interview. Let's welcome Gene Martinez to the show. Gene, welcome to TAW Live, man. Thanks for doing this.
Hey, everybody, how are you all doing? Okay. Sorry, Tim, after all these years, so I got a chance to talk to you live, which is great, you know. Like I said, we've talked many times on, on instant messages back and forth over the years, but finally it's my honor to finally get a chance to actually speak.
Well, Gene, I got to say the honor is mine, and it's because of yourself, and it's because of thousands of you guys in the TAW audience that lets Mike do what we do, and we're grateful for that every day. So thank you. I do want to delve a bit into our history. I know you and I, it turns out, we go back a lot of years as I've been learning, and we're going to get into that. But first, let me just say congratulations on the 7750, man. That's really cool.
I'm still. Like I said, I'm still speechless. Still speechless on that. And like I said, I never won anything before. And like I said, Michael got in touch with me, and I thought maybe his account was hacked. Asking for me for private, personal information. I'm like, what's he asking me information for? We talk here and there, basic stuff. Here I am asking for email addresses, stuff like that. So. But after testing him out and stuff, I knew it was him. So then he let me know that I won the big prize. So, to me it was like, wow, I don't win anything in my life. So, so it was a great thing. It was funny when I was filling it out and stuff. Your online information, entry. I'm like, wouldn't it be great if I won this? Nah, never happened.
It'll never happen. But you know what? It's that whole Wayne Gretzky thing. You miss all the shots you don't take.
Right.
And I'm glad you entered, and I'm thrilled that you won, man.
I mean, I always did it, because of my lack of luck that I've had in the past with entering and things. So I was like, something, what the heck? One night I said, something, I'll just enter. So sure enough, look at me now.
Yeah, how about that? By the way, if
Hey.
you are just joining us here on TAW Live, tonight we're really not going to be delving into any product. Of course, tomorrow, July 4th, we are going to get into the big July 4th celebration, and there's huge stuff. Just go check your social media. We've been posting about it. But tonight, Gene and I are going to hang out. We're just going to talk about watches and whatever else, and we're going to see where this goes. What we'd like to do moving forward for you in the audience, if you want to come on and spend some time, we'll do an interview like this. We're very interested. We want physical interaction with you guys because it's, and you know this, Gene, you and I have talked about this, it's because of folks like yourself and the thousands of you guys in the
Right.
TAW audience that lets us do what we do, man. We're really grateful. And
This has been great. I tell you, the thing, this whole, thing you and Michael got going on, it's really, truly amazing. I'm so happy for the two of you. You guys both deserve this, and I tell you, it helped me to get my my wonderful watch collection even more greater. So,
which is a good thing. So
yes.
I've got a collector question for you.
Sure.
Are those the people around you? Are they supportive of you being a collector, or not so much, or what's the story on that?
Yeah, well, my fiance, she's definitely going behind me. The folks that are they don't understand what I need so many watches, but it's a way of life for me. Like I said, I started at a very young age. I've been buying watches. I've been about 7, 8 years old. So
Wow.
it's
So you actually started as a watch collector around the age of 7 or 8?
Yeah.
Now, did you understand what watches were at the time, or what was the initial fascination?
I guess the looks of them. I guess I just like them. As far as I didn't know any like movement or name brands back then, but like I said, if something looks really different, I always like the different pieces. As far as like different stuff, like actually like how you Michael put up here, so you made me very happy later. But like I said, as son at a young age, pretty much I went by looks, the look of it. So I used to go shopping, in New York City. I used to find these little shops. They had little imports, of course, from so
Right.
pretty much where I did most of my shopping back then. I used to go weekly. Yeah, my parents used to take me to Manhattan like on a Saturday. You get to in the morning. We used to go for breakfast. Then we used to go up and look at watches. I went to buy the 1 or 2, take it for another.
Yeah, because
So
you got
it's a very young age. Now it continued throughout my into my adulthood now.
So when you're collecting watches at age 7 and 8, so you go into Manhattan, it sounds like on a Saturday. Well, what's a day like that with you growing up, going in, I guess, with your parents?
No, I look forward to it. You think like during the school year, I didn't care about school too much. I don't think so. Concentrate on going to couldn't wait for Saturday. When Saturday coming, or want to get up there and get another watch. So that's pretty much what the deal was back then. So it was a great experience. So as the years went on, it got pretty much better as far as knowing what a watch was, different brands, different movements as I got older. But of course, I've learned a lot more. I thought I knew a lot until I met the both of you guys. So I'm going, like I said, I thank the both of you for most of my help here. So.
Well, we're honored to have you in the audience, and thank you, and to you, Gene, for your support, and to all of you guys in the audience for your support. We all are, but all of our staff are mindful every day. We can't do what we do without you guys, and so thank you, Gene. Let's talk a little bit about growing up with watches, because you and I are doing this very organically. We have no plan here,
well, it's great.
as we're clearly going to prove. So. You obviously grow beyond age 7 and 8. Was there ever a time where you put watches aside in favor of sports or music or anything like that, or has this really always been a part of you?
I did DJ work down the road, but my watches I always enjoyed that. But actually, my watch has been my big infatuation since then. So it's pretty much been a big part of my life, and it's still continuing. And it's getting every time I say I'm not going to buy another watch, I'm done. It jumps back in my head, and the next thing I know, I'm buying another piece. So I just learned to give up and just go with it.
So it sounds like when you were growing up that you didn't necessarily know other collectors, or did you? Were there people around you that did?
Actually, yeah, actually, who introduced me? Actually, my father was in the police department in the NYPD in the New York Police Department. So his partner, one of the guys he worked with, was a big watch guy. So he used to have these crazy watches on it like, all the time I seen him. So I started like I said, "Wow, where'd you get that?" "Oh yeah, up in New York. You know, we live in the city. Yeah, I got this location, that location." So from that moment on, pretty much he introduced me, I guess, into the watch world. I'm sure my father probably started thanking him too much to stay, but like I said, it's pretty much who introduced me into the watch collection, collecting.
So I'm
So
curious, did you have a mentor in watches at any point growing
no,
up,
it
or is
had
that you just self-taught?
actually you. No, actually, I just enjoyed collecting until I met. As I seen you and Michael on TV, and that was it. From that, pretty much you guys became my mentor and my idols after a while. I thought you guys were on. I made sure I watched your shows. So and now it's continuing now on your own now, which I'm really enjoying. So I
Well,
really do
thank you.
appreciate you guys.
Again, we
So I was
greatly.
pretty upset when you guys weren't on the air anymore. I'd be honest.
Yeah. Well, you know what? It was great while it lasted, and
Yeah.
actually, I really find that TAW is taking full advantage of 21st century tech,
Yes.
and
Yes.
we're going to be, as you've obviously noticed, that we are, if we're not outright the least expensive place to get your watch, we're always among them because we can
Yes.
run so lean and mean. And if we've
Right.
got our
Yeah.
sources, I can, instead of having to go through corporate hoops and the wheels you can call me and go, I've got a deal. I've got these 30 watches done, and we'll go, let's do it. And we can actually have it to an audience in a matter
Yeah.
of relative
Yep.
moments.
I
And
know.
just,
You guys are
it's a very
surprised me
cool
too.
thing, man.
I know. I tell you, when you guys, advertise, oh yeah, we have this watch tonight. It's funny. I go to look at the watch. I'm like, oh, I'm looking at the watch, the piece. I'm like, well, this is gonna be expensive. Then I scroll down to the picture. I'm like, wow. Because a lot of these watches look very expensive. Then here you are, you're making it more affordable for us, us collectors out here, which I do appreciate. I love you guys for it, man. I
Well,
really do.
it's I got to tell you, Gene, it's part of what's been interesting is that as you can appreciate, when we first began this venture, that we had to cold call a lot of people, and of course I was leaning on some of my connections, and
Yeah,
you
yeah. I know,
guys kind
Mike.
of help a brother out, and
Yeah,
so on. And now we're actually getting cold called from big manufacturers. I mean, we're really starting to make an imprint.
wow,
Bruno Mali, they called us as an example.
wow.
We just had the deal with Ball. We just had the deal with U-boat. So
Yeah.
there's some very cool stuff that's going on, and we're increasingly into it. Hey, as long as I got you, and I guess I do, is there any brands you'd like us to go after? Anything you'd like to see?
Well, actually, I'm a big fan of the Watchdog.
Yeah,
I'm a very big fan. Actually, I bought one of your prototypes.
that's
That's
right. I
the
recall that. Yes, you did. So tell me about that.
Oh, I tell you, I bought it in to be sized, and the guy at the store was like, "Where on earth did you get this watch?" I'm like, "Well, I have some friends in high places." So I said, "All right." And I started showing him. He's like looking at it. He goes, this is a 000, triple, quadruple zeros on there. I said, "Yes." I said, "This is a prototype." He says, "This is a prototype. How on earth did you get this watch?" I said, "Well, I know the people. I don't know the people."
Yeah,
I've gotten
and
more
you
than,
do.
and I'm telling you right now, I've gotten a lot of confidence on that piece. So if you can find a way to get on more of those watchdogs, I'd greatly appreciate it.
That's interesting you say it. I was actually just recently in a conversation with a gentleman that owns. He owns the company that Watchstar used to be,
Right,
and he can
exactly,
still,
right.
because he's connected with the factory, he gets the as you know, obviously we're getting some of the prototypes and some of the really cool
Yeah,
stuff. For those of you in the audience who don't know, Watchstar is directly related to Exoskeleton,
yes,
and
which I love that those two actually.
yeah, they're brilliant, and it's from the same literal genius that created Exoskeleton. And I've always thought that they were undervalued. I mean,
Oh
way
yeah,
before I
absolutely,
was
absolutely.
involved with talk about watches with them. If you look at what Exoskeleton did, especially if you look at them in Generation One and Two, and if you look at them with what Watchstar became, I didn't think they charged enough. And
Right.
now in the to own, I don't even remember what you paid, but I remember thinking I'm actually jealous of that because of all the XOs and of all the
Yeah.
watch starts I have.
Well, yeah, that I picked
I don't
up.
have a
Yeah,
zero.
yeah. Well, I picked up the Gettysburg watches, which
Yeah.
were a beautiful piece. I love them personally. To me, they were probably couple of my favorites.
They're
That, and also I have one of my other favorites that you guys had, which I quite often wear. So if you want to see,
yeah, I
if you
do.
take that out, that's the concrete ones.
Oh yeah. Yeah, it's reflecting really heavy there, but
Yeah, I
I
know,
think I
man. I
got you.
know it's bad, but it's hard not to see. But yeah, it's one of the concrete watches. As soon as I saw that, I had
Oh,
to have one.
aggregates are
Yeah,
amazing.
yeah.
Yeah, they're going to be doing another show with us here pretty soon, and they're actually. This is the first time I've talked about this publicly, so Jane's got me to talk a bit. They figured out a way to start coloring the concrete, so they're coming out with a blue
Wow.
and a couple other colors that they're
Wow.
working on, and it's not just it's actually the concrete, not like
Well, you can tell
painted.
them it's a great piece if you want to let them know.
Yeah,
Totally good
they're
for
awesome. You come on, sapphire crystal and full
I mean,
retail is 169. My opinion, I don't think they're going to be at 169 much longer. I think they're going to be up
doubt it, but
substantially.
yeah, yes, yeah. So
They're
that can,
just amazing. Well, let's do this. Let's talk about. I got a question for you. Let's talk about grails. In your history of watch collecting, what were some of the? And this could be way back to when you were 7 or 8 to present day. What were some of the grails, the turning points for you?
ah, good question. You actually stumbled me on the question.
Wow,
That's
awesome.
hard. That's hard to do. Actually, to be honest with you. Wow. I guess I guess unconsciously I probably started looking for the the sweeping movements. Pretty much as far as things have turned. I guess as I gotten older, I guess went from childish looking watches to men watches. Probably that's probably throughout my years. Pretty much it. So that's a tough question, Tim. Yeah, you definitely got me stumbling on that one. But that's hard to do. But
Well, I think it's a great watch guy question, and one of the reasons I like it is that I don't think that there's a correct answer to it. Everyone's going to have
maybe
a
that's where I
different
get
grail.
trouble because I guess I just got bigger and better. I guess over the years, I just started increasing, getting a variety of different dime pieces and things like that. I guess as I gotten older, so then like I said, I just don't have one particular watch that I like. I'm pretty much into like the different movements. If it's like that different look, like the one we just spoke about, like that, watch style and stuff like things to that nature is pretty much where I started finding myself. That the movements and just the I guess the looks of them pretty much is over the years is probably what caught my eye. I guess I guess different views of it as I got older. Probably helped out to what I'm at now. And of course, both of you guys, both helped me along the way. Pointed out different features of the watches and the highlights of the watches. I probably wouldn't see with the naked eye. You know what I'm saying? So pretty much, that's where we'd be at.
Do you, as a collector, do you recall the time or the approximate era where you begin to realize that not all watches have the same movements, and that the movements themselves were
Yeah,
different?
probably my teens. Probably
Wow.
about teenage. Yeah, probably about teenage. I started really realizing, wow, this is different. Wow, okay, this has got an automatic movement. Okay, this has got a mechanical. So probably about maybe about 15, maybe about 15, 16 maybe. I really started really picking up on the different movements, the different stuff. See, back then when I was younger, I just went by the looks. I didn't care what. Wow, that looks nice. I want that on my wrist. So that's pretty much where I was at. Because I think like back then I think one of my first watches I had was a spider web with a spider going around as a second hand. So that's pretty much where I started at to where I'm at now.
So let's talk about when you started collecting at 7 or 8. Were they all quartz, or were you actually getting mechanicals but you didn't know it? Or
Actually, most of them were quartz back then. Most of them were quartz because back then quartz was like a big thing back.
oh yeah,
In the '80s, I was in the late '70s, early '70s child. So born in '73, so by like late '70s, early '80s, yeah, quartz was like the thing, So, but as like I said, after a while, I did get my first mechanical movement, and that didn't last too long because it was about maybe 10 years old. I didn't know. I overwound it, Boom,
Yeah.
that, And back then, mechanicals back then you couldn't fix them. So, but now, I'm into all kinds of movements. Well, I'm a big fan of the automatics, of course. I do like the mechanical still, but I do have. Well, I'm starting to get turned on to the tourbillons now, of course.
Do you have a tourbillon yet, or is that on the list?
Yes, I do. I am an owner of one. Yes.
What do you have? Just tell us about it.
Actually, I've been in. Well, now it's Aragon, but it's an Android.
Yeah.
It's an Android. Yeah, it's an Android watch.
Yeah, I have one of those actually. I have the what is it? Because I don't own any Aragon. I have the Android that he did, and I'm drawing a blank on the name of the case, but it's the one that he did out of brushed ceramic.
Okay.
That was done. Well, this must be going back now about 4 or 5 years, and he only did it once. And then I was talking to him after a show one night. And he said he's discontinuing it because the brushing was so difficult to do in the ceramic that the rejection rate was so high he just couldn't afford to keep doing it. So I was really glad that I got one of those.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I think it was actually one of his first ones that he did. Actually, I believe. I forgot them offhand. I haven't looked at it in a while because I keep like certain watches. I go in there, I round them up when I need to. But as far as I have certain ones I don't try not to wear too often. So unless it's like a special occasion. So
let's talk a little bit about you acquiring the Torby. So if it was one of his early ones, you're talking about 7, 8 years ago.
Yes.
Right about there. So
that's right. About that time, yes.
What made you pull the trigger? Do you remember the moment where you decided that was your watch, or all of a sudden it just was in the collection, or how did that happen, man?
It was on for like a couple of days. I know it was on a few days, and I said, "No, something. I've been wanting one. The price was right. It was at a beautiful price." I said, "No, something. I'm gonna pull the trigger." So I pulled the trigger, and when I got it, I was even more impressed, and I was so happy that I did do it because it's an incredible piece. So yeah.
Yeah, that especially right about that era, what was coming out at the time the brand was Android. He was doing some very cool stuff, and I'm very happy with mine.
Very impressed with his pieces.
He's been. If you look at the designs, it's been rock solid. I mean, I started working with him probably late '90s, early 2000s. And, at that time, he was coming out of the museum where he was doing like a lot of the science museum.
Yeah, well, I have his one of his. What do you call it? Was that the spaceship one he did? The S concept. Yeah, I have one of those too, one of his original ones.
I never got one of those, and I never got one that I don't even remember the movie. There was a major science fiction film that had one of his watches in it, and I can't even name it. I don't even know. Somebody out there is just throwing something at their mobile device right now because I don't know that, but I don't.
Yeah,
sorry.
Yeah, well, I have quite a few of his pieces. I have a handful of his. I have at least 12 of his. At least 12 Androids I have of his that are pretty unique, which I'm very happy to have in my collection.
So let's talk a bit about collection specifically, and I know some of these are stereotypical questions, but I'm going to throw them out anyway. Do you know how many watches are in your collection at any particular time?
Yes, I do.
And can you share that, or?
Oh yeah, sure. Yeah, right now we have over 298 watches.
Wow.
Yes.
So obviously you have to get at least 2 more because you want the round number.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah. Do you find, and I'll divulge a little bit about my collection. I'll build it up and then I'll quietly sell pieces off and then build it back up. Do you just hang on to everything?
Yep, I did the same.
Okay, so you'll go through, I don't wear that one so much anymore or whatever. And yeah, so you're doing the same and you're still at 300. Wow.
And I'm still there. It's funny. As many as I sell, like, all right, I got to downsize. The next thing I know, little by little, it's creeping up on me and back up there again.
What was the highest number?
345.
Wow. Okay, so you've already been over 300, obviously. So
yeah.
Then you brought it back down. Yeah. One of the things I find myself doing is I'll I'll sell off some of the watches that I'm just not wearing
Right.
so much anymore, or whatever, and then I'll reinvest into something new.
Right. Yep. Yep. You're a lot alike, Tim. You're a lot alike.
Yeah, which is a good
Same
thing.
way. Hey.
Speaking of which, and let me get your opinion on this. I have
Yes.
found over the years of doing this through initially it was through emails, and now of course social media makes it much more instantaneous and real. And now you and I are actually talking through the miracle of technology, pretty much face to face. There seems to be a real sense of camaraderie with watch guys that I don't really see in other collectors. Do you find that to be true, or not so much?
Not really. Not to me. I mean,
Wow.
I, uh, like I say, uh, it's, I haven't really come across anything like that. I guess. No, I mean, I talked to a lot of collectors, of course. Yeah. So, no,
Well, I think
we
having
flock
fun
together.
is also a really big a big part of it. Which is, and I think that's true of anything that someone collects. It could be the watches, obviously, or coins, or cars, or knives,
Yeah.
or whatever. It's like, if you aren't enjoying it, then unless you are an investor of some kind, and
Right.
you're trying to make a living, I don't see why you're doing it. So I'm glad you're having a good time with it.
Oh no, I'm. It's funny. Like no, how many times have I can't tell you how many times I try to stop. And that's like I just come to terms where just accepted it that that's me. This is what I do. This is what I enjoy doing. It's my I enjoy doing it. A lot of times I say, something. This is a sickness. There's something wrong with me. I gotta stop this. I was like, that's it. Every time I said this is my last watch. Every time I can't tell you how many times I've said this already. That's my last watch. I'm done. I'm not buying anymore. I'm gonna start selling a couple. Next year, my last watch is about 20 times later on. So I keep saying it anyway, but it doesn't happen.
It
So
doesn't for me either. I have to say that once I get into it, I don't think I ever reached the point where I said I'm not going to get another one. I did reach the point where I decided I'm going to be very judicious, be very careful about what I pick up.
right. I've been at that point. Yes, I'm at that point now.
So I
But
don't just get that one and get that one and get that one. And I went through that, and
yeah, I
now
went
it's
that same.
more
Yeah, it's happening now.
okay. What am I going to do with this? Like medium term, and how does it fit with the collection? In fact, let's come back and talk a bit about the collections. How do you store a collection of 300 watches? How do you do that?
I got storage cases. I got some boxes and other vinyl cases and stuff like that. Yes, I got different amount of stuff to keep them stored in.
So you're taking them out of their original packaging for the most part, then into a bigger.
Yeah, I keep the boxes. I keep the original packaging and tubs just in case I do decide to sell
Sure.
them off. I have the original boxes and stuff like that, and so forth.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I do exactly the same
Yeah,
actually.
yeah.
Um,
A lot of people think I'm crazy. Like, my coworkers at work, they think I'm crazy.
so do you wear like a different watch every day? Is that the what is Gene wearing today sort of a thing?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, well, it is at night. It is after work. Pretty much, I have a couple of different watches I wear for work. It's pretty much my work is pretty much very physical. So I don't want to ruin any of my timepieces. As far as at work.
Yeah,
So I have
probably it's not a good time to wear the tourbillon, I guess.
Oh, I wouldn't recommend it. No. But at night, like friends and stuff like that. Oh, what do you got on today? I would ask, a lot of friends of mine, they don't understand what I do and why. How could you have so many watches? How many arms do you have? It's
Yeah.
things to that nature. But like I said, this is, I enjoy doing it. I mean, this has been big part of my life since I'm little. Who'd ever think, 7, 8 years old, who's collecting watches at 7, 8 years old?
I'm
And,
right with you.
and I love it, and I tell you, you guys, both of you guys have helped me tremendously. I can't thank you guys enough, because I've learned a lot from you. You think you know a lot of stuff until you meet people, two guys that are into the same thing as far as watch collecting. I love the watches. So that's what I enjoy the most. People, especially the both of you, you share, you know, what you see in the timepiece. And what you're seeing is what, people like myself, collectors, enjoy seeing. Say, oh yeah, by the way, if you look at the movement, it's this, the engine, this is the engine, it's watch. That's what I want to hear. I don't want to hear that's a beautiful watch. This looks nice on your wrist. Yeah, I want to hear about the watch, the movement. See, that's what the both of these always talked about, and
You
that's
know,
why
I am
so much.
I'm so with you on that because it is, and I think even now increasingly it's kind of stereotypical. And the watch is round and goes with everything, which tells me, and I'm speaking now for me, it tells me exactly nothing.
Right,
Tell me about the case. Tell me, how was it built? Tell me what movement is in there and why.
right.
Uh,
Yeah, that's why I enjoy. That's why I always enjoy good shows. Michael's shows, because this is your fellow watch collectors. You understand what the buyer wants or the collector wants. It's like you're looking at the same piece and explaining what I'm looking for. And that's and I no believe and I love every bit of that because that's what I want to hear. Okay, this is how to move. This is the movement. That's what I like. That's what I enjoy. You guys were amazing. You're both great what you do, and I do appreciate it. It's nice, like I said before. It's nice to see you both. Be able to still watch it, and a little upsetting when I didn't get a chance to see you guys for a while. But it's good to see you again.
well,
So I'm so
for,
happy for your success.
for what it's worth, it wasn't our idea.
Oh, I know that.
But
I
with
know
that
that.
stated,
I
we are, we're back together again, and
totally understand where you're coming from. Yes.
Mike is a thesaurus on wristwatches. He knows so much, and it's
I've spoken on on instant messages and stuff like that. I threw him a couple of curveballs at times, and he had the answer for it.
yeah.
I couldn't believe it. Something I looked up. I looked at it. I looked up the information. I Googled it. I tried everything. YouTubed it. And let me say, I couldn't find the answer. I texted him. He goes, "Hey, give me a little time on that." About a day, maybe a couple hours later, or a day later, boom. Gee, this is when it was made. I remember this piece now. Okay, this is what I remember. Walking right through, and I'm like, really? Yeah. So you guys definitely
he's pretty extraordinary like that. My stuff tends to be more from like just my experience of being in the business. I mean, one of the reasons, because I do have brands I tended to gravitate to more, and I got so in depth in the Javril in the late '90s, and then of course I'm a huge exoskeleton fan, as you know, and you and I share that.
Yeah, well, I did get a Javril from you guys anyway too. I bought one.
Right. And it's one of those things where I can go, well, that one's from 1998, that one was this, and then I know that what you're holding couldn't be what you say because Exoskeleton didn't even have that until 2008, and
right.
I can't do that with every brand, but there's selected brands where I can just fire
that
off. Mike can do it on all.
Right.
Yeah, he's pretty extraordinary.
I tell you, he's great. That's what I can say. And. Also, I want to thank the both of you guys for introducing me to Beads by Gonzo too. By the way,
I got to say his stuff, and I own a couple of them, and ironically I didn't wear one into the studio today, but they're amazing.
It's funny I just brought them up too, but look.
Yeah, he's doing the swag now. He's
I'm happy for him. I've actually had the opportunity a couple months ago actually to meet him firsthand. So he's amazing. I love him.
I met him once on one of my last trips to Minnesota. I actually got to go up to the lab that does the actual laser work, and I did some video in there. I think it's still out on YouTube somewhere, where he's having all this stuff custom done with lasers. And I think he must be now over it. At the time, I think he was approaching around 800 different variations of beads.
Yeah, I've quite a few of them. I have quite a few of them myself, and I tell you, every one I think it's like he can't do any better than this. The next thing you know, the next one, boom, I'm wowed.
See, that's the thing that's fun about it. And by the way, for those of you in the audience that don't know, Beads by Gonzo, or BBG, you can get that on talkaboutwatches.com. And what it is, it's custom-made bracelets from exotic beads from around the world, all sorts of stones and minerals and metals and whatever. And he will custom match this to usually your wristwatch. You just send him a picture, but he'll also do corporate or whatever. So just go to talkaboutwatches.com and go down to the accessories section, and you can see them. So, Gene, before we wrap this up, I did want to get a bit into moving back from accessories. Since you won the 7750, originally I was going to ask if that's your first, but if you've got 300 watches, I guess you must have at least one other. Or am I wrong?
What's that?
Was that the one that you won? Was that your first 7750, or is that?
Actually, I own one other one.
There is one. Which one is that?
Actually, it's actually you guys both sold me on it. Actually,
Okay.
back in the day, it's the Sablacan one. The
Wow. Yeah, it is back in the day.
Yes, that was my first. That was my actually it was my first and only at the time. So this is my second one.
Well, I tell you, I couldn't be happier that the watch, and for those of you who are joining us, the contest we just did, the Olyn 7750, Gene won that watch, and Gene, it's obviously going to a great home, man, and I couldn't be happier for you.
Believe me, it's
awesome.
going to a great home.
It's always a cool thing, and congrats on the collection, and I wish you many happy years of ongoing collecting. And I'm gonna go ahead and wrap this up. But Gene, thanks for being such a gracious guest. You've been terrific, man. I appreciate it.
Oh, thanks, man. Thank you, Tim.
And thanks everybody out there for tuning in. And we're going to keep doing this with different members of the audience. So you guys just hit me up on Facebook, Tim Temple on Facebook. If you want to email me instead, hit me up at ttemple@talkaboutwatches.com. We'll see. Gene, thanks again, man, and congrats on the watch. And thank you, everybody out there, for watching. And we'll see you back here real soon.